All right, there we are. So welcome, good morning. So we'll have a strap and a block or two. And my back is a little stiff this morning, so I don't know, I might do some odd thing. All right, so let's make our way to our mat. And we're going to come down. We're doing the block under the sacrum to start. So, having your block there, putting it under the legs as we come down to the floor. Inhale and exhale. Taking a moment, just letting your body sink into the floor. Nice exhale out the mouth, letting go of the rest of the day. And then we will lift up, sliding the block underneath the back of the pelvis there under the sacrum, sliding the legs up to straight. And then taking a few easeful moments, maybe even with the legs a little wide. Just inhaling up into the lower belly and exhale, melting off the block. And then gently cooperating with the block a little more, bringing the legs into parallel. Reaching through the heels, pulling up through the front of the body, stretching yourself long over the, but still leaving plenty of room for nice big round breaths. And then we'll bend the right leg and hinge the right leg up. So you can just pull the right leg there, reaching the knee toward the wall behind you as you reach through the left heel, or putting one or both hands onto the right leg across the knee or behind the thigh, and then really reach long through the left leg. And then we'll set the right leg down, sliding it out, bending the left leg in, hinging that up, reaching long, maybe using a hand or hands on the left leg to stretch a little more. And breathing here, letting that breath gently deepen you into the stretch. Letting your breath let go of any excessive effort you're making or tension you don't need. And then setting that left leg down, sliding that out to straight. Push on the block near your waist, lengthening out even more. And then we will finish here on the block. Bending the knees, lifting up off the block, rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, landing on the floor. And let's come up in the bridge pose. Rolling up, maybe interlocking the fingers underneath. Pressing down in the feet, and then the other option of bending the arms, taking the hands onto the sacrum, making sort of a block with your arms. And then pull it slowly down, letting yourself land on the floor and letting go a moment. And then we will make our way up to sitting. And sitting with the crossed legs in Sukhasana. Using the arms alongside to lengthen up. Getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And maybe some kind of squinching. And we'll finish with whatever we're doing. Letting the hands rest on the knees. Pouring down the sides of the neck, long through the top of the head. Inhale and exhale. Feeling like you're resting against the wall behind you. At the same time, a little lift up the wall behind you. And we'll reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms up. Inhale and exhale, breathing them down. Let's do that twice more. And the next time the arms come up, we'll bring them down the center line. Breathing those arms up, hands come together, drawing down the center line. Wide elbows, wide collarbones, thumbs coming into the sternum. Closing the eyes, bringing your attention even more inside yourself. And we'll take one Om together, starting with a deep and easeful inhale. And let the head bow forward. And release the hands, putting the backs of the hands on. And slowly lift the head and open. And then let's change the cross of the legs. Holding on to the knees, lifting the upper chest, and we will ripple, reaching forward and contracting, rounding up and back. And we'll do this, I don't know, 4 or 5 more times, depending on how fast you're going, or how many times you feel you need to do it. And we're going to end up finishing in the forward bend. And so when you've had enough rippling, letting it settle into a forward bend, big round breaths across the back of the body. And then coming up, unfurling the spine, back up on top of the sitting bones, inhale and exhale. And then let's come up and downward facing dog right way. So as we get there, having your blocks and your strap as well up near the front of the mat. And then here we are, downward facing dog, walking the dog or anything else you want to do here. And then finishing up with whatever you're doing, being in the best downward facing dog of this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. Inhaling up to the sitting bones. Exhale, pouring down the backs of the legs. And then let's lengthen forward to the plank, stretching long and flat against the ceiling. You can come into kneeling plank or onto all fours if you need to. Long line from the tailbone to the top of the head, belly and ribs draw a little in and up. Widening across the upper back and the collarbones. So we have both a feeling of the arms pulling out wide to the side. And there's also a feeling of drawing into the center line. You don't want the elbows to go out. You think of the arms themselves as drawing into the center and the upper back and collarbones pulling wide. Maybe that would be a good way to think of it. But we all have different bodies, so we sort of have to sort out our own interpretations. We've been here long enough? I think so. Let's come down, taking a long sit back into child's pose. And then coming back up to downward facing dog. And let's lift the left leg up. So this is not one of my mistakes, lifting the left leg up. I do mean left leg. Stretching down the back of the right leg into the floor. And then reaching the left leg down, touching the big toe to the right heel, and reaching that left leg back up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. And setting the left foot down. Take a breath. And then we'll do that with the right leg, lifting the right leg up. Really stretching down the back of the left leg. And then reaching the right leg down, big toe touches the left heel, and stretching the right leg back up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire height. And then this time we're going to the shin lunge. So coming forward like the hover plank and then sliding out along the right shin, sinking the right sitting bone toward the heel as much as you can, pressing back through the left heel. Maybe having blocks for the hands here, just like when we're holding the plank, find that feeling of wide across the collarbones and up your back. And then here we are stretched over the block like we were with our right leg pulled in. Just in a different orientation to gravity. And then we'll sit off onto the right hip and unfurl our right leg into Konasana, the angle pose. Giving a lift up from behind, reaching long through the inner thighs and coming forward. You push with the hands on the legs or in front, wherever they're useful. Inhale and exhale, and being active through the legs, reaching out through the feet, pressing the legs toward the floor. And then coming up, and we're going to Matsyendrasana toward the front of the mat, crossing the left leg over, right leg is down. And then let's twist to the left. Inhale, lots of space, exhale, and twist. And coming back to the front, disentangle the legs, and we'll come up in the Namaste, the boat pose, any sort of version. So you can use the hands behind the legs or on the floor to help balance up on the tippy sit bones. Maybe the shins parallel to the floor is a good boat pose for this moment. Maybe straightening the legs. Maybe the arms straight out to the side in the full boat pose. And reaching through the heels, reaching up through the top of the head. One more deep breath. Holding those legs down, rolling up onto our feet into the forward bend. Ah. 3 breaths here. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And here's my creaky back. I don't have a big front body yawn today. And pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. Circle the shoulders to interlock the fingers. Lifting up the chest to lift the chin. And then coming forward, pressing out through the hands, hinging over. And releasing the hands. Concave back halfway up. Folding over. Stepping back with the left leg, so we're in the right lunge. And coming up in either the warrior one or the high lunge. So I think I'm going to go for the high lunge today. Every breath in action, renewing the pose. And let's take a big circle around with the arms and all the way back up overhead. Namaste in front. And then namaste into the floor. Stepping back to the plank through the vinyasa, any version. Downward facing dog. And then we will go around on the other side. So we're going to start with the lift of the right leg. So lifting the right leg up, three-legged dog, really stretching down through the left. And then reaching the right leg down, big toe to the left heel. Reaching that right leg back. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And then setting the right leg down. And then the left, lifting the left leg up. And then reaching the left leg down, big toe to the right heel. And reaching the left leg back up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And then to the shin lunge, like we're going to hover plank, but then slide out along the shin. And then reaching the left sitting bone for the left heel. Resting back through the right heel. So your left sitting bone might not touch that left heel. Wide across the collarbones and upper back. Breathing here. Kind of like we're stretched over the block on the sacrum with our leg bent in. And then holding on to the left hip and extending the left leg out. And we're in Konasana, the angle pose. A little lift up, reaching wide between the two legs and coming forward any amount. Inhaling and exhaling. Making those legs stand on the floor. And then coming up. And we're turning toward the front of the mat, and this time the right leg is going to come across into Namaste on the right. And we will twist to the right. Inhale, lots of space. Exhale and twist. And back to the center. Disentangling the legs. And Navasana, the boat pose, the V-sit. So don't try to pull yourself into close. We're having kind of a right angle. So there's also a little pull away feeling in this. All right, balancing up on the sitting bones. Maybe shins parallel to the floor version, or any you want, using whatever support you want from the arms. Lifting through the top of the head, reaching through the heels. So they're reaching away from each other, the head and the feet on diagonals, as opposed to trying to pull toward each other. Of course, there's a lot of pull toward each other to keep you from crashing to the floor. One more breath. And then we'll fold the legs down and rolling up onto your feet into the forward bend. Inhale and exhale. 3 breaths. And then coming up to standing. Big front body yawn, whatever that means for today. And arms down long through the top of the head. Circle the shoulders to interlock the fingers behind. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And then coming forward, pressing out through the hands, the counterbalance, hinging over. Releasing the hands. Concave back, halfway up, folding over. And we'll step back with the right leg into the lunge. So we have our left lunge coming up in either the high lunge or the warrior number 1. Every breath, every moment. Then all those moments, just one flow of breathing. Maybe there's some wobbling now. Let's circle the arms all the way around and back up overhead. See, there's a lot of wobbling. And then Namaste in front. And Namaste into the floor. Stepping back to the plank, through the Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And 3 deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And then coming up in simplified virasana here at the back of the mat. Sitting bones reaching for the heels, top of the head reaching for the ceiling. Extending the shin along the floor, double shin. And then let's ascend onto our knees in short Tadasana, bringing the arms up overhead, really pull the abdominal muscles in and up. And we'll Ustrasana, the camel pose, bringing the arms around, hands to the sacrum, or maybe the heels, if you can reach the heels already. Lifting up and over. And then up. And we'll Parigasana, the gate pose. So I'll just angle a little bit. So we're going to take our right leg out to the side. So I'm just still doing my real right and left leg. Right leg out to the diagonal side, and we're using the version with the top of the leg, the knee, and the top of the foot up to the ceiling. And standing up on top of that left leg. And then side bending over the right leg. Don't let yourself sit back by trying to force the side bend to be bigger than it can be. A little feeling of the tailbone pressed forward as we go up and move. And then anchoring that left shoulder blade in the back. So we start circling our left arm from the shoulder blade out to the fingertips, and then coming down and inside that right leg, and finding a good stretchy spot for yourself, maybe flexing the foot. And then we'll just walk around, retrieve that right leg back next to the left, coming back up onto the knees. And taking the left leg out to the side. Heel lines up a little in front of the knee. Don't let your left leg get behind the line of the hip. Knee and top of the foot to the ceiling. Standing right up on top of your right leg, arms out to the side. And then side bending over to the left. Inhale and exhale. So sometimes we can't get very far in the side bend here, and we sit back and kind of come forward because we think we want to go bigger. But just be where you can go. A little press forward with the tailbone. Breathing into those places in the body that don't have a lot of space. Making them have as much space as they can. And then anchoring that right shoulder blade in the back to carry that right arm around, calming down and inside the left leg. So your hands might be further back towards your right leg, wherever they sort of work for you. Maybe flexing the left foot. Breathing here. So this is just a yoga stretch, not a pose. So a little more freedom to adjust it for yourself. And then we will just come around, retrieve the left. And then we're back up on both knees. And let's do another Ustrasana, coming up and coming over. Maybe hands to the sacrum, or maybe all the way to the heels again. I mean, all the way to the heels, not again, unless you did it before. All right, here we are, Ustrasana. Lifting up. And then coming up, descending back to simplified Virasana. Inhale and exhale. And then we will tuck the toes under. And coming up into the forward bends. And a concave back. Inhale out, making space. Exhale, pouring over. And let's do that twice more. Inhale, expand out. Exhale, coming over. And also getting our weight back onto the legs. Feet reaching into the floor again. And then walking back out to downward facing dog. And through the vinyasa, inversion. And downward facing dog. All right, this time we're going to start out with our right leg. Lifting the right leg up. And we'll lower it and touch the left heel again. And then lifting the right leg back up. Dog at the high fire hydrant. Through to the lunge. And warrior number 2, the lateral lunge. And then side bend dancing warrior, bringing the right arm up and away. And into the triangle Trikonasana, tilting over. So the triangle is a hinge in the hips rather than a side bend of the spine, or that's the intention. Right? And then back to the warrior 2, bending the right knee, coming back to the warrior 2. And then facing your body side, the long edge of the mat will bring the arms down and interlock the fingers behind. And lifting the chest to lift the chin. So just doing whatever your body will do in this orientation. And we're going to come forward, straight out between the legs. Try not to let your right leg straighten, coming over any amount. And you can always let the hands go if things get a little off balance. And then coming back up. Feeling that right hip scoop a little down and under. Extending the arms out again. Check the alignment on your right knee. And then left arm comes up, big wind wheel down to the floor. Walking your right foot across. That's a Andrasana again, pulling the left leg under. So now we've got the right leg on top, left leg on the bottom. Deep breath. Let's twist to the right. Inhale and exhale. Coming back to the center. And we'll uncross our right leg and pull the left knee out to the side. So we're going to Yantrasana with our right leg straight up in front. Here's where we might want our belt. All right, so I took the left leg even more out to the side, maybe a block under the left leg. And then belt around the right foot, lifting up. As we extend our right leg up, we've got lots of help from the belt, but still doing the Navasana there. And one difference here is we're not trying to necessarily reach away. This is maybe where we are, but there is an intention to pull into the center of your forehead, reaching for your shin. And as always, an intention to breathe deeply and peacefully. And then bring that right leg down, setting the belt aside. And we'll disentangle our left leg from underneath to come up in the forward bend. Deep breath. Concave back. Folding over, jumping or stepping back through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And then we will go around on the left. All right, lifting the left leg up. And reaching the left leg down, touching the big toe to the right heel. Reaching the left leg back. Bending the knee dog at the high flyer height. And through to the lunge. Warrior number 2, the lateral lunge. Making sure everything arrived. Inhale and exhale. Being present in every moment, but letting yourself just be in that flow of being for a few breaths. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Dancing warrior, bringing that left arm up and away. And into the triangle. So we actually sort of square out in the torso and arms and then try to tilt rather than side bend into the triangle. And to the warrior two again, bending the left knee, reaching back through the right arm. And then turning to your body front toward the long edge of the mat, bringing the arms down to interlock the fingers, a little roll out. Doing your best to be right in the center, so our hips might not be perfectly square, but they're sort of square. And then lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming forward. So as you come forward, try not to, number one, shift toward the left leg, a little extra pull toward the right. We also don't want the left leg to straighten. So try to go down into the lunge as best you can. If you need to release the hands to the floor, go ahead and do that. And then we'll come back up, pressing down into the feet. The left tailbone or the left hip does a little scoop down and under. Expand the arms, check your alignment on that left. And then bringing the right arm up, big windmill down. And walking the left foot a little to the right into Matsyendrasana, pulling that right leg under. So now we have our left leg on top, right leg under. And we will twist to the left. Inhale, lots of space. Exhale, and back to the center. And then we'll uncross our left leg. Pull that right knee out to the side so the heel is right here in the center. Well, that's the idea. Maybe a block under the right knee. And we will get our belt and putting it around the left foot and extending up in Yantrasana. So we're using the belt a lot. We're using our V-sit strength, our Navasana strength. And maybe just play around and feel the difference between a pull away. You can always choose to do this one, even though in the pose itself, there's a pulling together action. But there's, of course, always a balance of both. It's just which is the stronger. In this case, it's the pull together. But there's still a reach out. And then breathing. And bring that left leg down. And then before we make our way elsewhere, get that right leg in front, and we're going to do Uttaya-Pada Paschimottanasana, which is like the V-sit, but with our intention to pull together. Might end up looking about the same, or even feel about the same, but different intention. And this one we use the belt for, and you're much more likely, in my opinion, to tip backwards in this pose. So just be careful about what's behind you. If you're near a wall, you might even go deliberately where you could rest your head against the wall at kind of a little angle there for support. All right, here we are. We put the belt around the feet. If you don't want to do this, you can always do a forward bend with the feet in the belt. And lifting up. The hard part is that first little bit getting the legs up. So maybe they don't get straight. That's fine. And we're doing a pull pull toward. There's and expand out. There's a little bit of that, but then we're focused on the pull toward, trying to get our forehead onto the shins while still breathing deep. And let's bring those legs down. Disentangle the hands from the belt. Bringing the feet in, and we'll come up onto our feet and expand into the forward bend. The easier version, gravity is our friend, same shape basically. Oh. And let's come up to standing. So I know we're almost here at the end of class, but nonetheless, let's come up to standing, big front body one, and around to Namaste. So we're going to do standing on one leg at almost the end of class, as I do like to do sometimes. So maybe holding on somewhere. We're going to bring our leg up in front, but this time we're going to hold one or both hands and really try to pull the thigh into the chest. So it's like standing up shin lunge kind of. And then we'll put it into a tree pose. All right, so here we are, maybe with some support from a wall or a chair by your left hand. Inhale and exhale to Tadasana Samasti. And then bring the right leg up. So you can just pull. So we're trying to lift the knee higher. You can pull without a hand, maybe one hand or both on the leg. And then you might notice it kind of makes you want to scoop under. So you really have to press the back of the left leg back and reach down through the left leg as you try to pull that right knee in towards you. And then into the tree pose, Vrikshasana. And here there's also a pull from underneath, lift up from underneath. It's also Yantrasana with our straight left leg. And bringing the right leg down. And then we'll go to the other side. Deep breath, bringing the left leg up. Maybe just holding it up rather than making a right angle with an intention to pull the knee high. Or maybe one or both hands onto that left leg. And notice the more you pull, the more you want to collapse a little down and back. So you have to resist that, just like in the shin lunge, we're pressing our right leg back, pressing the right heel down into the floor. And then into the tree pose with that left. And we don't have the same kind of fold up. There's still a little pull and lift from underneath there. And bringing the left leg down. Inhale and exhale, Namaste, steadiness. And then here we are at the front of the mat. Big lift up. And diving in. Deep breath. Concave back, lengthen out. Folding over. Bending the knees, coming down onto the floor. And then we will continue all the way down onto the floor. Back to where we started. All right, and then there's of course as many options as you need to have. But one option in particular today will be to do our Shavasana with the block under the sacrum. If you do have a lower block or a lower height to use, I would suggest using that here. If we want to be a little more easeful, not have it be a strain, but lying flat on the floor is fine, or anything else you feel you need to do. All right. And wherever we are, slowing the breath down. Letting the weight of the body rest into the floor. And breathing back into your body, into the room. Moving the fingers and toes, getting the circulation going. Stretching the arms up overhead. Bending the knees, so if you're on the block, you need to get the block out. And gently making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with the long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.